So now we're looking at the suit of swords in the minor arcana. So swords represents, well, it's associated with the element air, and it represents the intellect, communication and your thoughts, so your mind. It can signify conflict, challenges, the need for decision making. It can also signify truth and honesty and focus and planning. The swords are often not the favoured suit in the deck because they will often talk about conflicts and challenges and the struggles that we might go through in our life. So we're starting with the Ace of Swords. Now, aces represent new beginnings, they can represent breakthroughs. So when it comes to the Ace of Swords, these new beginnings, these breakthroughs are going to be in regards to things like communication, intellect, truth, focus, planning, the rational mind. This is more mind-based rather than like the cups, which is emotional and heart-based. The swords talk more of our brain and our intellect and our mind. So now we will have a look at the symbolism on the card for the Ace of Swords.
So looking at the symbolism on this card, if we start with the sword itself in the middle of the card, the sword represents clarity of thought, truth and intellectual power. It's a double-edged sword which symbolises the duality of logic and the potential for both positive and negative outcomes. So the crown and the wreath at the top here signifies victory, triumph and the attainment of higher level of understanding or achievement. The cloud here that comes from the side represents divine inspiration and the emergence of new ideas or clarity from previously foggy or confusing situations. The hand that's coming out from the cloud holding the sword signifies that this clarity or this new idea is a gift or opportunity that's been presented to you. But now if you come and look down here, you can see the mountains in the background. And remember me saying that the swords often represents challenging or more difficult situations. Well, although this card with the crown at the top and the sword in the upright position indicates success, with the mountains here, it also, these symbolise the challenges and obstacles that we might have to go through before we reach this point of success or clarity. They symbolise that the success that's achieved will come through hard work, determination, and not without its difficulties. So there's definitely going to be a need for like resilience in your thinking when trying to attain this goal.
So the Ace of Swords, if it was to come up in a reading. So one reason would be clarity and insight. The swords are associated with air, which is associated with the mental body. And so it can come up in a reading when you're going to have a breakthrough or an understanding and some kind of mental clarity. It can often be indicating that you're going to have a new perspective or a change in thought process around a situation or a problem. So a clearer vision. It will come up to suggest that that you're now taking action in the mental realm, so the planning, the thinking around a new idea and how to bring that into your reality. It can also come up to talk about truth and justice. So it can It can often speak about the start of cutting away from either people or habits or old parts of your life that no longer serve you, and about communication and finding the truth in matters. So that could be in a relationship, so it might be about honest communication and truth being brought to light. It can also talk then about seeking justice, either for yourself by standing up for your rights, or even voicing for, you know, the rights of other people and advocating for people that might not find that so easy to do. And so being a voice for others to seek justice for them, or just something that you're really passionate about, which you feel is a good cause to fight for. So it can indicate that too. So if you're fighting for a cause like maybe saving animals or something like that. It can also indicate the start of a new journey or a new beginning regarding the intellect. And so that could be you starting a new project. It might be a new course or area of study. Because it also talks about communication, it can be you now embarking on a new journey of writing skills. So maybe start joining a writing course or public speaking. It can also talk about decisive action and the ability to cut through confusion on a situation and be able to make decisions based on logic and clarity, much rather than from the emotional side. So more from the brain, more from the logical way of being, rather than if it was the cups, which would be more emotionally based, and that would talk about making decisions from the heart. So overall, the Ace of Swords will always talk about you now having a very clear vision and clarity over where you're going or what you want to do or achieve. It's the cutting away of any confusion or anything that was maybe kind of, what's the word, distracting or not allowing you to make the right decisions on things. So it's the removal of that and your focus, you being able to focus on what it is that you want and where you want to be. It very much talks about planning, the planning stages of things. So it's kind of pen to paper, writing down. So you, with the wands, you have that amazing idea, but then you, with the swords, you take the idea that's with all the excitement from the mind, and you put it onto paper and you start to plan. So it is also about taking action. So that's it for the Ace of Swords, and tomorrow we'll be looking at the Ace. No, we won't. Tomorrow we'll be looking at the Two of Swords.